what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I am driving a 1994 Saturn SC2. Up front is a 1.9 liter inline 4 and down below is a 4-speed automatic transmission. Now I'm super excited to be driving this SC2 because it is teal, it has pop-up headlights, and it's from the 90s, and I think that checks all of my boxes. That means it will be a wonderful vehicle. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. But let's get back to that 1.9 liter inline 4 under the hood. Well, part of what made the SC2 different from the SC1 was that engine. Although the SC1 got a 1.9 liter, the SC2 got dual overhead cams. Now that pushed the power up to 124 horsepower. However, within the Saturn community, it's kind of well known that the SC1 single overhead cam engine gets better fuel economy and is more reliable in the fact that it burns less oil. These cars kind of tend to have oil consumption issues, and it's less so on the SC1 single overhead cam engines, so just so you're aware. Like I said, paired to it is an automatic transmission. However, you could find these in manual if you wanted. This one is automatic, so that's what we're dealing with here today, and I don't have any qualms about it. There's a couple hesitations in the shifts. For a 30-year-old car, you can't really knock it too hard. Last but not least, of course, the SC2 is front-wheel drive. So how does it feel to drive the SC2? Well, it's not really sporty. It's not really cutting edge in its driving dynamics. However, the A-pillars are thin, visibility is good, and I enjoy my experience. And we'll talk more about that because I think it has more to do with the looks than the actual driving feel. But if you've driven a Saturn from this era, it pretty much drives and handles in a very similar way. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have all analog gauges. Off to the left is my speedometer, in the center is my fuel and coolant temperature, and off to the right is my tachometer. I also do get a physical odometer in the center. The reason I bring this up is because a lot of them break. The little gear when you hit trip reset will sometimes snap, and owners won't go through the trouble of fixing it. And so if you are planning on buying a vehicle like this, just know that it might actually have higher mileage than the gauge is displaying. On the steering wheel, I just have thumb buttons for the horn and an airbag, and cruise control off to the right. Off to the left, we have a climate control vent, and moving onto the door, we have the latch to get in and out and locks. Now you see this blue fabric here, this is not factory. However, in this era, the original factory fabric was just glued on, so they tend to get unglued after 30 years, and so owners end up replacing it, and that's what happened here. Moving into the center, we have two climate control vents, our radio, and our climate controls. Something I really love about the climate controls is how sturdy the fan speed switch feels. Absolutely love that. Down below then, we get a 12-volt outlet and a traction control button. Very cool to see that. Then we have our ashtray and shifter. Nothing really too interesting between the two. However, down below the shifter, you actually do have sport and normal settings. So this is a 94 Saturn with a sport mode. Something I didn't expect to say in a car of this old or from this brand. Then we have our power window switches down below. So they are in the center here and they are not mounted to the doors, as well as we do have the handbrake and power mirror adjustments. Then we do get an armrest between the two seats with a fold-out cup holder. So we will do a big friggin' bottle test, and although it does fail, I have to give the SC2 major props for having one at all. But yeah, then we have the armrest and the seats. The seats are finished in this lovely 90s material. I mean, so period correct here. Absolutely love it. And this car does have power seat belts. However, the driver's seat belt has broken 3 times, or at least the owner has gone through 3 different seat belts. All that didn't work. And so these are very finicky, very cool, but very finicky. Here's where it actually works on the passenger side if you want to see the operation, but currently the driver's side does not work. Speaking of seats, however, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, getting in the back of the SC2. No good. My head's hitting the ceiling. My butt is barely in the seat. Now, granted, I have a bigger butt than most, and I'm proud of it. I get a swivel out ashtray back here and cup holders, but this is not where I want to be, or This is not where I ever want to find myself ever again. Here's the back seat of the SC2. I hope it brings back memories, or if not, I hope you never have a memory back here. Is that wrong to say? Oh no, not good. Let's talk about the trunk. All right, so we're on the back of the Saturn SC2 from 1994. Single key here. Don't know why they couldn't have done that for Oldsmobile in this era, but Saturn got it. Pop the trunk here, and this is the original wheel. So the 94s came with these wheels. However, over here, these are newer wheels. So very, very cool to see that. Overall trunk space isn't that crazy, but that's the back of an SC2. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and of course, right off the bat, I love the color of the SC2. And the SC1 not only got a single overhead cam engine, but they actually got a different front end. So this was an SC2 front end with the pop-up headlights, where the SC1 didn't have pop-ups, which is very, very unique. However, speaking of which, pop-up headlights, ladies and gentlemen. I always adore seeing them. These still work on this particular SC2. And on the knob on the inside, you can turn it all the way on and it'll pop the headlights up. But if you want to leave the headlights up without them on, then you have to walk it back 2 clicks on the stalk. You can't just pop a button and have them come up without the lights coming on at all. You have to turn the lights on first, and then you can turn them off and keep them up. Very interesting, very quirky, and I love seeing that. But let's talk about the SC2 as a whole. What are my final thoughts? Well, I've loved my time with the SC2. This car is incredibly clean, very well kept, and mostly original, which is very hard to find in the modern era. The driving dynamics of this car are not great. It doesn't corner like you're on rails. It corners like mashed potatoes and gravy. It has the pickup of a tortoise with a sprained ankle. But that's not why I love this car. I love it because it's unique, because it was a moment in time for Saturn where they actually had their own personality. They actually had their own voice. You looked at this car back in 1994, and even if you didn't like American cars, if you didn't like Saturns, if you didn't like GMs, what have you, you could look at this and say, that's a pretty cool looking car. It caught attention and it caught eyes. And these cars were very affordable. And so back in the day, you could own something that felt like you were Knight Rider himself, Michael Knight, walking out, and the headlights pop up and you get into your sleek 2-door coupe, and you didn't break the bank doing so. You weren't out an arm and a leg just to have a cool, unique car. These were affordable. That was the whole point of Saturn, was to be the affordable company, and yet they still had fun. It was that friend on unemployment that has the biggest smile out of anyone in the friend group, and it doesn't really make sense sometimes, but when you don't care about the money and you don't worry, you can actually have some pretty good fun. And that's what this car was. It was fun. Maybe not in driving dynamics, maybe not in Nürburgring times, but in style. This has to be one of the most economical ways to smile as you walk out to your car. And that is what the SC2 excelled at, and that's why I wanted to review it here today. Maybe it's not the best car ever made, maybe it's not the sportiest, maybe it's not the most luxurious, but it sticks out in a crowd. And sometimes that's all that matters at the end of the day. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to James for letting me take out his SC2. I am currently here in Auburn, Indiana for the Saturn Midwest meet that happened on April 20th. It was absolutely fantastic. I'm showing some B-roll footage here. So many cool Saturns. I wish I could review them all. James was one of the organizers. He was absolutely wonderful to work with. Please come to the 2025 meetup. It's very, very fun. It was an awesome show, and I cannot wait for next year. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.